Hi, it's Josh, and I've been getting more news about the INEOS production pause and the Recaro bankruptcy. And it's actually looking like it was softening orders and the cancellation of the Fusilier project by INEOS that pushed the teetering Recaro over the edge into bankruptcy. As it stands, production is not set to resume until 2025. And the question becomes, was it INEOS that needed the production pause because of slow sales, or was it the bankruptcy of Recaro which triggered the pause? Even if it may have been INEOS who pulled the plug on Recaro seat orders, which was the final straw leading to their demise. So in this video, I'm going to lay out the breadcrumbs that I've been collecting, and let's see what kinds of conclusions we can make. Obviously, everything is speculation unless you're an insider, and I'm not. I'm an INEOS fan who wants to see the company thrive and to keep evolving because they're offering a great 4x4 that captures the essence of the glory days of the original Land Rover Defender. And those of you who haven't bought a Grenadier yet, you may notice the feedback from actual Grenadier owners is overwhelmingly positive, and that INEOS has a hit on its hands. I often find more negative feedback coming from non-owners or disappointed owners who had expectations that just differ from what the Grenadier is supposed to be. But with the final price point when it arrived to the market and the limited draw for customers of true off-road capable 4x4s, the anticipated market maybe isn't quite as big as what originally was hoped for by INEOS. On our road to the situation with Recaro, let's start with a quick recap. And let's actually begin with the INEOS Fusilier. As you may know, the Fusilier was supposed to be INEOS's entry into the electric mobility space. The model was planned for 2027 and was intended to expand the model range after the Grenadier. An agreement was made with Magna Steyr for the Fusilier to be produced at the Magna plant in Graz, Austria, where the Mercedes G-Wagon and other Magna-built vehicles are assembled. But on July 4th, it was announced that the Fusilier project was to be postponed indefinitely. That's the term they used, indefinitely. The reasons they cited were 1. Declining uptake of electric vehicles by consumers, and 2. Uncertainty in the EV industry regarding tariffs and taxes and multi-country regulations, which are both valid points. The Fusilier was planned to have a range extender, which is a motor that acts as a generator to charge an onboard battery, to provide a semblance for an extended off-road capability, because we all know that there are no charging stations in the outback. However, some of the countries are already setting dates to fully ban CO2 producing vehicles, making the range extender a non-starter for INEOS. So INEOS decided to press pause on the entire project until the dust is fully settled and it makes better sense for their business. But again, using the term indefinitely. But keep in mind that they're still very new to the automotive market with the Grenadier and already have their hands quite full in many ways. So while not possibly the first domino in the series, the cancellation of the Fusilier meant large order cancellation for Recaro. Ouch. But that's not all. Press reports that INEOS sales are not fully meeting their original expectations have surfaced, and while there are sales in many markets and happy customers, there just aren't as many of them as were hoped. The US was again mentioned as currently being their largest market, with sales averaging just over 500 units a month. In the we didn't flinch department, even with the production pause, INEOS has kept to their plans and just launched the Grenadier in the Chinese market, with 3 dealerships opened and the delivery of Grenadiers beginning by the end of October. But even so, with a hoped production level of 30,000 units annually, which now may be closer to 10 to 20,000, that means that orders from suppliers would need to be reduced to match market demand. Another ding for Recaro. So on July 30th, Recaro files for the German equivalent of bankruptcy protection while they attempt to save their company. Fewer seats may have been what INEOS wanted, but 0 seats is suddenly what they got. On September 27th, INEOS publicly announced that its production was being paused to work through a supplier insolvency. However, it's beginning to look like this may be just what they needed, at least temporarily. Now, Recaro did make seats for other manufacturers, but INEOS is the only series production car that is currently using a Recaro seat. The Audi R series used to, but that was discontinued this past year, and that was another loss of business for Recaro. Some BMW, VW, and Porsche models also offer Recaro seats as an option, but not as standard equipment. So those were orders that were more likely to fluctuate anyway. But add it all up, add rising costs and a hangover from the pandemic, and it just looks like the end of days for Recaro. But maybe not so fast. Two things have been circulating in the press. One, when asked why INEOS has not tried to stabilize Recaro as a supplier by injecting money, an INEOS spokesperson told Automobile Walk, a German publication, that they could not comment on individual business relationships as it was a complex situation. However, a solution has now been found. What exactly this will look like will be communicated in due course. And two, with cautious planning, a return to full production speed is planned for early 2025, said the spokesperson. The author of the Automobile Walk article states, actually, this can only mean a change of seat supplier, since Recaro will cease production in Kirchheim Tech at the end of the year, which is the seat factory location just outside of Stuttgart. However, I'm not so sure of that point and would prefer to wait for INEOS to announce that they've either revived Recaro or have in fact changed seat suppliers. That's because changing seat suppliers does require new certification and crash testing for INEOS. Lynn Calder specifically mentioned this in a recent interview, noting that the approval of Grenadier's design by safety regulators is partially based on factors such as the seat's reference point or how it's angled. Of all the components it could be, it's just a really fundamental one, she said. So no production and no seats for the moment. But this has caused much press and some doubtful public to take the Chicken Little stance that the sky is falling, and to point to reports of declining sales for INEOS year over year, when in fact the Grenadier only launched in 2023 and not in the US until 2024, and giving it less than a full selling year. And yes, pent-up demand clearly made for a big first wave of customers and sales, and that's not likely to repeat itself, as everybody who wanted one for the most part now has one, unless they walked away when they saw the final product or when they saw the final price. Many of the comments I get from viewers say that they need to lower the price, and my reply is, what would you like them to leave off? And what does that price need to be? Truth be told, not everybody can afford a Grenadier at the price that they finally settled on. I believe that some folks who were anxiously waiting were hoping that it would arrive at the original price INEOS loosely floated, which was $59,000. But sadly, that became a pre-pandemic pipe dream, and I knew that was happening once they fully stopped talking about price at all for almost 2 years before they published the model year 2024 US pricing. So it may make sense for monthly sales to be lower than originally expected because pricing didn't come in as originally expected. And that doesn't make it a bad car, nor does it make INEOS a failing company. It also has to be noted that INEOS had to adapt their marketing strategy to make the Grenadier attractive to a wider range of customers. As we all know, the Grenadier was originally supposed to be an uncompromising off-roader that stood for adventure and active driving, but also had the capability to be a work and utility machine. However, an advertising campaign during the European Football Championship recently emphasized lifestyle as an aspect, something clearly aimed at expanding the potential customer base. But is the Grenadier, as it's built today, the right fit for that? I still feel that they have a way to go if they really want to attract the on-road crowd en masse. Now, INEOS Automotive is filled with smart people, carefully selected from the auto industry, and just like they selected the BMW engine and partnered with Magna and pulled from within the INEOS organization, which is vast, the INEOS transplants like Lynn Calder have great experience in project management and delivering projects in a regulatory environment on time and on budget. But as a startup with a multinational aspirations, and you can imagine that there can be some missteps now and again in their efforts to get things right. I think they'll get it right. And remember that INEOS is a private company with no responsibility to shareholders. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe had a dream and a vision and has the resources to keep the project afloat during its infancy and through some of these unforeseen challenges. They'll make their adjustments and move forward. But being small, they'll only build what they can sell. Maybe without Recaro seats, but time will tell that. For now, that means that there may be a healthy supply of Grenadiers sitting on dealer lots, but the ones that are most desired and have the most desired features and options are beginning to thin down. I'm sure you can snag a great deal on a base Grenadier, but I think in 2025, INEOS will balance supply to better meet the demand, and the opportunity to drive a cheap Grenadier will become a thing of the past. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And please consider subscribing if you'd like to be notified when I post updates. I appreciate your feedback and love to have you join the conversation. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.